Back to episode 8. Taehyung lifted his hand up and squeezed Jin's shoulder to console him. You can always adopt a baby, Hyung. And often, I know that we want someone to come pick us up, he said. Namjoon said the same thing, but it would again be violation of the rules. We might give them as much love and importance, but this world will never consider them as our own blood. I'm afraid that things might go wrong again. I don't want to risk Jungkook's life this time. Risking Jungkook's life means risking the whole clan. He doesn't even have a successor. Yoongi has no idea about this mafia world. Our adopted children wouldn't had a chance. We will also be doomed. His voice cracked and tears dropped down his cheeks. Who knew a cheerful person like Jin would be holding so much of pain inside? Taehyung emerged to give him a side hug, and Jin leaned in for the hug. I know, Hyung, the situation is tough, but I believe Jungkook know how to deal with all this. He will never let you be unhappy, he said. A powerful man like Jungkook would never let things slip out of. Jungkook was observing the emotional conversation between Jin and Taehyung from his room balcony. This wasn't his plan when he had decided to keep Taehyung here. Taehyung was growing more and more close towards his family. He was learning more about the mafia world, his family, and importantly about him. Jungkook had kept him captive to make sure that he doesn't spill anything to this world. Jungkook didn't want Taehyung to involve himself in this world, and it was not safe for non-king to stay this for this long. 2 days passed by. In these 2 days, Jungkook was ignoring Taehyung totally. He did not come to visit him like every day. He even brought sushi back to his main office. Taehyung was clueless about what was going in Jungkook's mind. It was around 9 at night when a maid informed Taehyung that Jungkook was expecting his visit in his office. Excitedly, Taehyung stepped out of his bed and entered the office room. To his surprise, it was not just him and Jungkook in the room. Youngmin and Namjoon were also there. The atmosphere seemed tight. This was not a casual visit like the previous ones. Both Taehyung and Jimin were asked to sit opposite to Jungkook. The rest of them sat on a couch nearby. The look on Jungkook's face was pretty serious, and unlike the looks he was giving Taehyung in past few days, he showed no emotion. His aura was just like the previous times when Taehyung was brought here. Jungkook had stopped being this cold to him. Ever since they began kissing, he knew something was off. Jungkook forwarded a file towards Taehyung and Jimin. The both of them had no idea about the file in front of them. You were told, if you guys gain our trust, you will be set free. The both of you have enough of our trust and end your hostage. Now, announced Jungkook, this means that Taehyung and Jimin will allowed to go out and live their lives. Like before, Jimin seemed happy. Taehyung was happy to know that he has gained Jungkook's trust, but he was sad at the same time that he will not get to meet Jungkook again. You can go back to living your life like earlier, but after signing this contract, let me summarize the contract for you. You are not allowed to speak to anybody about your stay here. You are not allowed to tell anyone that you lived with us for 2 months. You cannot disclose about anything that you have seen, heard while you were here. If either of you violates the contract, we will kill the both of you. By signing this contract, you will be agreed to this, said Jungkook. Both of them nodded their heads and signed their contract. All the while, Taehyung was not all happy, since you would want to explain your absence for 2 months to a few people. I will help you with that. Taehyung will have to pretend that you met with an accident 2 months ago and that you have strictly obliged to stay in bed. And for that, my hospital will provide you with your fake medical certificate. Jimin, you don't have anyone to explain like that, I guess, but if you have someone to explain, then just say that you were taking care of Taehyung. They nodded their head. They would never find a better excuse than this to escape from questions. JK, I have spoken to head of your college, so it wouldn't be difficult for you to get back to work, Taehyung. Thank you, he whispered. JK, since you don't pay your apartment rent for 2 months, the landlord lady threw your stuff out and gave the apartment to someone else. I can't do much about that apartment, but I can get you an apartment, or if you wish, you can stay with Jimin. Jungkook informed Jimin, he will stay with me. I am alone there anyway, said Jimin. He squeezed Taehyung's hand to convince him to stay with him, and Taehyung easily agreed and decided to stay with Jimin. JK, good. The stuffs that were thrown out are in the basement safely. It will soon be transferred to Jimin's apartment, says Jungkook. Taehyung and Jimin were asked to pack their stuff so that they can leave this place early in the morning. Jungkook showed no emotion. Young men were happy for God knows why. Jin was sad that he was going to be alone again, and Namjoon had no bad feelings about the two bottoms leaving, but his bottom was sad, so eventually he was put on to struggle with Jin's bad mood. Taehyung did not get a wink of sleep that night, though he wanted Jungkook to set him free. Since the beginning, they did not feel good when it actually happened. But what was he expecting from Jungkook? Was he expecting Jungkook to like him back and ask Tae to be his boyfriend? Did he think that Jungkook would take their kisses and make out seriously? Had Tae thought that his comparison for his stay here for free would bloom into a beautiful relationship? He must be a fool to think like that. The next morning, Taehyung and Jimin got ready with their bags of clothes that Jungkook and Yoongi had brought for them. For some reason, Taehyung was hurt. No one hurted him. He hurted himself with his expectations. He didn't want to keep Jungkook's chain with him anymore, so he went back to Jungkook's office. He opened the door to see Jungkook in his chair with his piles of documents. I have something to give you back, he said. Jungkook knew what he was here for. Jungkook isn't ignorant to not notice the chain missing. He hummed and stood up and walked towards Taehyung. Taehyung unfolded his palm and Jungkook's bluish-green pendant chain came to vision. You have dropped it in the beach, he said. Jungkook took the chain silently. He didn't want to upset Taehyung more than he was by saying that he knew where it was, but JK, thank you. I had been searching for this. Immediately a smile came over Taehyung's face. He stood there for a few more minutes. He didn't want to go back yet. He wanted to kiss Jungkook one Last time he didn't think much. He kept Jungkook's space and kissed him. He was not expecting Jungkook to kiss him back. But soon Jungkook sneaked his hand around Taehyung's waist and kissed him back desperately. It was full of unknown feelings. They separated and Taehyung walked out of the room. Soon they were standing in front of Jimin's apartment. They hugged Jin one last time and Namjoon brought Jin back home. It has been 3 months since then. As promised, Jungkook had set everything up and leading their previous life wasn't difficult for them. The medical certificate helped them to continue his work as an assistant professor, but his life went back to become tasteless. There was no excitement like before. Every day was new for them when he lived in Jungkook's mansion. But now it was only home, work, work, home. Jimin and him went out to party, but none of them were joyful for Taehyung. But that wasn't the case with Jimin. But wouldn't this be violence of the contracts? Taehyung asked Jimin. No, nowhere in the contract it mentioned that we can't continue to have any kind of relationship with the members of the family, right? Moreover, I can tell people that we met through our parents. Jungkook knows that we are dating. Taehyung, if this was against the contract, we would be dead by now. Explained Jimin. Jimin was right. Nowhere in the contract it was mentioned that they could not meet up ever again. So if Yoongi was coming to see Jimin, why was Jungkook not coming to see Taehyung? He asked himself, but then he consoled himself, saying that they had nothing between them like young men. It was only desire. Taehyung was happy that finally Jimin has found his prince charming for himself. This is the longest Jimin has stayed with anyone. All his boyfriends only lasted for days or a week, but they had been dating for 3 months now, and Taehyung doesn't see any sign of them breaking up. And hence, Taehyung concluded that Yoongi is the one for Jimin. It was Saturday and Taehyung decided to go out and do some shopping. He had to go alone because Jimin was on a date with his lovely boyfriend Yogi. He had saved up money for his rent and etc. But since now he was living with Jimin and his salary also got a boost, he decided to spend a lot of money to feel good. He picked up all his clothes that he liked and entered the trial room. He tried one on all of them and found that he actually wanted all of them. Though they had came here to spend a lot of money, his money saving mode was always on. JK, hey, it's me, Princess. Taehyung turned around to see Jungkook in his perfect businessman look. As always, he was looking tan hot. Taehyung don't knew what came on him. As he landed himself and Jungkook for a hug. To his surprise, Jungkook hugged him tight. They were in a trial room and door was wide open for anyone to see, but they both don't care about it. They stayed like that for a few minutes. Jungkook inhaled the sweet musk smell of Taehyung. They separated and Jungkook asked him, JK, what are you doing? What are you doing here, Tae? I came to do shopping. Jimin decided me to go on a date with Yoongi. I am left all alone. He whined. Jungkook only laughed out loud. The both of them forget to notice Jungkook's hands were still in Taehyung's waist. Tae, what are you doing here? Tae asked. JK, oh, come on. I own this place, he said. What less can we expect from Jungkook? You are buying them? Asked Jungkook. They, oh no, only these two. These two. JK, why? Don't you like them? He asked. To Jungkook's opinion of every customer is important. I love them, but I could only buy if I had a sugar daddy to afford. He joked. JK, if you like them, I will buy them for you, said Jungkook and dragged them towards the payment counter. Oh no, Jungkook, please. I was just joking. You don't have to buy them for me, he pleaded. He didn't really want Jungkook to buy clothes for him, but Jungkook didn't listen as he asked his employees to pack all of them. Please don't embarrass me by buying me clothes. I was only joking, he said again. JK, take them as a gift for your birthday then, he said. Jungkook, it was a few weeks ago. There is no point in using that as an excuse, said Taehyung. JK, then consider this as a belated gift from your ex-kidnapper, he whispered in his ear. Taehyung could do nothing but giggle at his comment. JK, you have anything planned after this? Asked Jungkook. No, I will go back home, said Taehyung, collecting the bags of Jungkook's gift. JK, then how about we have dinner together? I don't think Jimin will come home tonight. It's their 3rd-month anniversary as a couple, said Jungkook. The both of them knew how wild the couple were on their little anniversary. Taehyung agreed and went to a nearby decent restaurant where people would not disturb Jungkook. They had a peaceful dinner. Taehyung asked about Namjoon and his mom. He was more than happy to know that Taehyung was now pregnant. Jungkook told him that it was all a miracle for them to believe. Moreover, Namjoon were coming to be blessed with triples, but condition of Jin was still serious, where the doctor could not guarantee that all the 3 babies will be alive at the Whatever the case was, Taehyung was very happy for Jin. Jungkook told that he would drop Taehyung to his and Jimin's apartment. The car stopped at the gate and Taehyung stepped out. Jungkook also came out of the car. Thank you for the gifts and dinner. I really enjoyed it, said Taehyung. He really was happy that he got to spend a little time with his crush, JK. It was really good to see you again, Taehyung, said Jungkook. Taehyung smiled. Jungkook was behaving different from the last encounter. It was very cold back then. But when they were in a real life kissing, it was different, as if he was holding control over Taehyung. But now it was different. It seems like Jungkook was here only as a businessman and not as the king. Jungkook reluctantly held Taehyung's hand. He then pulled him towards himself. Taehyung's hand landed on Jungkook's firm chest. Jungkook scratched his waist and they stayed like that for a few seconds before Jungkook spoke. JK, can I kiss you? He asked. To be continued. So what do you think? Will Jungkook confess his feeling to Taehyung or not? And what is gonna be their future? We will get to know all this in the next episode. Hope you will love it. Bye bye.